Hi, I'm Callan Steinmann, Curator of Education here at the Georgia Museum of Art. Today I'm excited to share with you about this painting behind me called McIntosh County Shouters by Art Rosenbaum. I would share a little bit about the artist to start us off. Art Rosenbaum, his full name is Arthur Spark Rosenbaum, is an artist, he's a teacher, he's a muralist, a musician. He's also a Grammy-winning documenter of folk music traditions. Art Rosenbaum was born in 1938 in upstate New York, and he studied art all throughout school from the time he was a kid all the way through college. He got his MFA in 1961, and he went on to teach art himself. So he came to Athens in 1976 to teach painting and drawing here at the Lamar School of Art at UGA. And his other big passion is music. So he's a visual artist, also really interested in music. He was a part of the folk music revival scene in New York in the 1950s and 60s. He played banjo, fiddle, and he sang in a couple of groups that were popular in clubs in New York at that time. He apparently even crossed paths with Bob Dylan, which is pretty cool. So in addition to being a musician himself, he's also known as a folk music archivist, and he's spent nearly 50 years documenting all kinds of folk music traditions in the South and Midwest. So he's traveled all across different areas of the country to do field recordings of unrecorded traditional folk music. So everything from blues, gospel, hymns, spirituals, mountain music, banjo and fiddle songs. And he actually won a Grammy for a collection in 2008 called Art of Field Recording Volume 1, 50 Years of American Traditional Music Documented by Art Rosenbaum. And I mention all of this because this painting here is a really nice example of how he's bringing together his interest in music and visual art. So when Art Rosenbaum came to Athens in 1976, he began looking for different types of traditional music and musicians to record and connect with. And he ended up eventually connecting with the group of people you see depicted here in McIntosh County, Georgia, which is on the southern coast of Georgia. And this painting here depicts the oldest known African American performance tradition in North America. It's called the ring shout. And the ring shout was brought by enslaved West Africans to North America, and the tradition was passed down from generation to generation in the Gullah Geechee African American community, which is along the Gullah Geechee corridor of the coastal areas of Georgia, South Carolina, and even stretching up into North Carolina. The ring shout tradition combines call and response singing, there's percussion, hand clapping, foot tapping, and the ring shout was first described by people who observed this tradition on the Sea Islands of South Carolina and Georgia during the Civil War. And the tradition was actually thought to have died out, but this group here, the McIntosh County group, has maintained an unbroken tradition of the ring shout from times of slavery all the way through present day. So looking at the scene here, there's all these different people who are participating in the ring shout, and they each have a different kind of role. So the ring shout is started out by someone called the songster, who's sort of the lead singer who sets the song, starts everybody off, decides what they're going to sing. I think this fellow here is the songster here in the foreground. And he's accompanied by the stick man here, who beats on the wooden floor with a stick or a broom to tap out the rhythm of the song. And then the shouters are these women, usually women, who are the shouters in the background, and they begin to sing along and move in a counterclockwise kind of circle. And you can see here they're doing kind of like a shuffled sort of step. So part of this tradition is that they always move counterclockwise. They never lift their feet up off the ground very high, and they never cross one foot over another. And those aspects of the tradition can be traced all the way back to African ceremonial dances that took place during different ceremonies, burial rituals. So that's where the ring shout originated, and that part of the tradition is still alive in the way it's performed today. So these ladies in the back are moving in this kind of shuffle step in a circle. They often stoop down, move their arms in the rhythm of the music. Traditionally, ring shouts were planned to coincide with holidays and other special occasions. The McIntosh County Shouters, this group, they were awarded the National Heritage Fellowship from the National Endowment for the Arts in 1993. And in 2010, they received the Governor's Award in the Humanities. And they still perform in Georgia and throughout the country at events and festivals today. So I thought it would be nice for us to look at this painting while we get to listen to some of the ring shout. And so let's take a minute to look at the painting while we hear some of the ring shout in this audio recording. I love getting to listen to the sounds of the ring shout and look at this painting at the same time. I think the kind of joyful expression, the sounds, the percussion, the singing, the clapping, the foot tapping that you hear in the music, you can also kind of see in the painting, in the way Art Rosenbaum has depicted the scene with all the bright colors, the expressive lines and brushstrokes. I think he really kind of brings the ring shout to life in the way that he's painted this. I'm going to leave with a quote from Art Rosenbaum, where he talks about his interest in both music traditions and in visual art. And he says, "My interest has always been in the older layers of the tradition, and not solely because they are interesting links with the past. Whenever they're performed in the voices and with the hands of gifted singers and musicians, they are not just artifacts of the past. They are a living, ongoing art form, and a very powerful one." Thank you so much for joining me today. I really enjoyed getting to share this work of art with you.
Oh, Lord, your chariot, let me ride. Oh, chariot, let me ride. Oh, chariot, oh, let me ride. Oh, chariot.